welcome to Sarah's Stamping Retreat. Today we're going to be doing some simple but really effective paper piecing using this gorgeous stamp and die bundle from Hero Arts, and this is called Pop Art Flowers, and it comes with a coordinating die set. And then I've also got this honey flower paper pad from Panalisa Crafts. So I'll just quickly flick through that so that you can see what you get. You get 2 of each one. It's single-sided paper, so you don't have to choose between the patterns. You can see it's just really beautiful and summery, quite a neutral colour palette, so it's good for a whole bunch of cards. So if you're not quite sure what paper piecing is, it's when you stamp on pattern paper or coloured cardstock and then cut it out and piece different pieces of the image together. So I've chosen this stamp set because it'd be really easy to piece together. I just want to do like a simple guide today. So I'm going to use this largest flower first, and I'm going to use this card base. So I've got UK A6, so 5 7/8 by 4 1/8 inch card blank, and that is crumb cake cardstock from Stampin' Up. And then this is 1/2 inch smaller in cream cardstock. So I obviously want to choose something that's going to go really nicely with that. And I think I'm going to use this one here. So I'm going to use my Ultra Jet Black ink, and I'm going to stamp that onto there. So you see you've got this nice effect of the pattern coming through under the stamping. So then I want to paper piece the middle sections, and because it's a circle then it doesn't matter if I flip this over. So I'm going to flip this over and stamp on the back, partly because it'd be easier to see, and partly because then it doesn't matter that I'm just going to use this centerpiece, because I can use the other piece on something else it won't be printed on. And I'm going to do that on here as well. So then what we're going to do is cut them out. So we've obviously got a coordinating die set. You could absolutely use that to cut this out. I just want that kind of like neat edge look, so I'm just going to use my scissors to cut this one. So then on this black piece, I'm just going to cut the outside circle out. And then on this piece, I'm going to cut the inside circle out. Then here's my flower ready to get glued together. So I'm going to make a really simple card for this first one. So I'm just going to have the flower. So I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to use a thank you sentiment from the set. I'm going to stamp the thank and the U separately. And I'm doing that so that I can back the U up a bit closer to the thank. So then I'm going to use the nib end of my jet black alternate marker to just colour in the thank you. So then I'm going to glue this onto the card. And then I'm going to add my flower on with a foam pad. And then I've got this really cute Vanilla Kiss kind of sequin and gem mix from Lucy's Cards. You can see there's like a mixture of gold and kind of white and iridescent in it. I'm just going to use some of these gold kind of pearls. So I'm going to pick up each of the gems in turn, put down a little bit of glue and pop them on top. So there's that card, and you can see that the pattern paper really adds a bit of kind of texture to the flower that wouldn't be there if we just stamped it on normal cardstock or stamped and coloured it. So then for this next card, I've made a flower that's the same as the one that we did for the last card. And then I've just taken a strip of the butterfly paper that's 2 inches wide and popped it down this side. Then I'm going to take this flower die that coordinates with this, and I'm just going to pop it here in the centre, and then I'm going to take the die to the pattern paper, and then I'm just going to die cut that out of the pattern paper. So then I'm going to glue this onto my card blank. So I've got an A6 black card blank. And then I'm going to pop this up on a dimensional. Then I'm going to stamp the hello from the set onto this pattern paper. And I'm going to colour it with this pen again. So then I'm going to cut around there. So then I'm going to pop this one up too. And I think I'll use some of these same gems to add around it. And there's our second card. Then for my next one, I've got a crumb cake card blank, and I'm going to just stamp my stamps onto here. So I want to create a bit of a kind of almost bouquet, for want of a better word. I don't really know what you call it. Now I don't need to worry about having this stamped a bit there. And then the other thing that we're going to do is stamp the other things, and we're not going to worry that we're overlapping. This is just so that when we put our flowers on, we know exactly where we want to put them. So this is just going to kind of serve as a template for us. So you can see it's going to look super messy, but it's serving as a template. And this way I can kind of lay out my flowers with the stamps, and then I know exactly how many of each thing I want and what I need to fill the page before I do the work of kind of stamping and cutting out the flowers. So I think I'm going to use this hello stamp again, and I'm going to stamp it straight onto the card while we're still at this very basic stage, so that if I ruin it, then I'm not ruining a whole lot of work. So then once again I'm going to colour this in. So then I'm going to use these papers for this one. So I'm going to use this black for the centres in all of the flowers, well, the outside bit of the centres. And you can see that I can overlap with what I've already done, because we don't need to see that bit, I just need to be able to cut it out. And then this time I'm going to do the centres of the flowers in the same way as the petals. So I'm going to have like this on the outside, then this black for the outer circle, and then I'll have this again in the middle. So then I've got all my pieces cut out, so I can glue them together. So then I'm going to glue all the pieces onto here. So I'm going to start with the leaves because I want those at the back. So you always work from back to front. I'm just placing them over those already stamped images. So then these ones on the outsides I want to be next, so I'm going to glue those on. And this centrepiece I want at the front, and I'm just going to pop that on a dimensional. Then obviously I'm going to want to put some of these on again, because they're just too pretty not to. And use some of these iridescent ones as well this time. So then there's that card done. So then for this next card, I've got a cream card blank with the crumb cake mats that's 1/2 inch smaller. And you can see I've used that beautiful floral paper to create the flower. So I'm just going to glue in my centres. I use the same pretty grey pattern as the last one to do the leaves. And you can just see how much extra detail using pattern paper as opposed to plain paper gives it. So I'm going to stamp the hello right at the bottom of the mat. And then for this one, because this has got lots of colours in, I thought I might go for a colourful hello. So I've got this Cosmic Garden set of Ultra New Alcohol markers, and that's what the Jet Black's from. So I'm going to use some more of the like pinks and things from this set. And then I'm going to use the shade Darker, which is the Coral Berry, just to add to the bottom of it, to give a bit of a two-tone effect. And then I've decided that actually I don't like that after all, so I'm going to solve it by going over with the black. I just decided because that colour was a bit crisper, it didn't really go very well. So then I want this flower on, and I want that to be up there and this down here. So I just want to use my black marker and just draw a stem down, so then I can glue on my leaves. I'm going to add on a foam pad, and then I can glue that onto my card front. And there's that card done. So I'm going to stamp this on that pretty floral paper I used for the last card. And you can see this slightly misstamped over here. So when it's just a small patch like that, I just like to grab my fine liner pen, and it's a pretty easy kind of fix, so I'll just fix that by hand rather than stamping another one. And it's obviously easy enough to stamp another one, but I don't want to waste the paper. Now I'll stamp centres for that in a minute, and I'm going to use this one again for the leaves. I'm going to stamp 8 leaves for this one. So then for this card, I'm going to make a circle card. So I have cut 2 black 6-inch circles, and I'm going to cut this one at 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to turn it round. I'm going to make sure that this is lined up down here so that I know that it's parallel, and then I'm going to just score that other side. So then I've got this flat line opposite the score line, and that will help keep the card upright so that it's not rocking and rolling. So then I'm going to just add some glue above the score line, and I'm going to add on the second 6-inch circle. So then I've got my flower, I can glue in my centres. So I'm going to have this in the middle, and then I'm going to have the leaves around the outside. So I'm just going to use the leaves for a second, just to kind of space my flower so that I get it in the centre. Because my leaves will help me eyeball whether the flower is kind of closer to one side or the other. So I'm kind of happy with that spacing, so I'm going to pop a foam pad behind here. And then I'm going to glue around the leaves, and I'm using the gap between the petals to space them out nicely. So then I'm going to pop my Hello sentiment just onto this piece of scrap paper, and I always keep these scraps because they're perfect for sentiments. So then I'm just going to add some foam pads behind my sentiment. Then I've created a pattern with some of the iridescent elements from that gem pack. So I've got some of the gems and some sequins, and I'm just going to add those on. So then there's our final card finished, very nice and sparkly. Then there are all of today's cards. I hope it's given you some different ideas for things to do with your pattern paper. I really like adding extra kind of pattern to cards like this. Let me know which card's your favourite in the comments below. I really hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I'd appreciate you clicking like below. You can also press subscribe if you'd like to see future videos. If you press the bell button and select all, then YouTube will also notify you when I've got a new video available. All of the products that I've used for today's Cards are listed in the description below, and you can also find a link to my blog there where you can find a picture supply list if that helps you find what you're looking for. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon.